Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Hey everybody, welcome back to Being the Marshmallow, Living and Coping with PTSD. I am, as always, Bob Wagner, and that was Blimey and Pete accompanying me in the theme song, in the opening bars to the theme song of Joss Whedon's never-to-be-sufficiently praised show Firefly. Now, I'm going to get to why I opened up with that in just a second. First things first, this is not going to be a follow-up to the anxiety post that I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll get to that later. Second off, sorry I didn't do a post last week. Last week was a therapy day, and normally I am able to do posts on therapy days, but last week was just insanely packed with stuff to do, and I literally was running nonstop for about 12 hours. The big announcement here is that this is going to be my last video post as a single man. Tomorrow evening, Wednesday, June 29th, 2016, at about 5 p.m., I will be getting married to the amazing and beautiful woman that I've referenced multiple times, and there goes the dog, in this blog as my wife. We're not technically married yet, but boy, you sure don't want to call me anything other than her husband where she can hear it. So we're getting legally married Wednesday, June 29th, tomorrow, at about 5 p.m. So big announcement, yay for matrimony. And the reason I opened up with the theme to Firefly is because it's going to be a Firefly themed wedding. We actually fell in love to the show, and so we decided to make it all about the show. Now, a couple of things I want to touch on today. First off, and this may not be as timely as we might like it, but I wanted to speak about this idiot George Kuntzman, who has made himself into widespread internet meme fodder with his ridiculous, I fired an AR-15 and it was like shooting a bazooka, man. Okay, look, I'm not going to turn this into a weapons post. I will at some point be doing a post about the correlation between weapons and mental illness and my personal beliefs on the situation. For the record, I do own guns. I am a Second Amendment advocate, but I am not going to use this blog typically to talk about the whys and wherefores of guns. That's a personal decision. What I am going to talk about is Mr. Kuntzman and his dumb idiot idea, or rather his dumb idiot remark, to the effect that I got temporary PTSD from shooting an AR-15. Okay, look, folks, here's the deal. Saying that you had temporary PTSD is precisely like saying you had temporary AIDS or you were temporarily decapitated, okay? If you say, okay, first off, PTSD is permanent, ladies and gentlemen. It does not go away. The symptoms simply get manageable and you go into periods of remission, but I guarantee you it's always there. It permanently rewires your brain. So, Mr. Kuntzman, excuse me, not only are you a complete ass on the subject of firearms, but you are also a complete tasty wildebeest faces. Thanks for the edit, guys. We're trying to keep this PG-13. On the subject of mental health, you're a moron, okay? There is no such thing as temporary PTSD. That's like saying you temporarily had your spine removed, okay? Or in your case, you temporarily had your brain removed and they're still waiting to get it back, Mr. Kuntzman. So, no such thing as temporary PTSD. It's a permanent condition. It simply gets more manageable. Anybody who says otherwise is wrong. So, that's that. Enough about that. Enough about that oxygen-thieving, nincompoop, waste of life masquerading as a journalist. Congratulations on making yourself internet meme fodder and giving me 3 minutes of free material here, and I could do a week on you, you nit. Moving right along. And this is actually kind of pertinent to what's going on in the next few days. As I mentioned at the start of this video, I am getting married Wednesday, and I am actually getting married at a science fiction convention, a local science fiction convention that me and my wife have been attending for quite some time. I'm not going to name names, but if you are local to the Twin Cities Metro, you're probably aware of it. And the relevance to this blog of the science fiction convention, other than the fact that I'm the one that I'm going to it, is the fact that a lot of people with mental health issues go to events like this, go to science fiction conventions and other things like, concerts and things. We don't just sit at home rocking back and forth dealing with our demons. It's not what we do. We go to big social outings because we're human beings with lives, okay? We're not just a venue or a vehicle for our symptoms. And these things can be very, very tricky to manage when you have a serious mental illness like PTSD, which often manifests itself in social situations. They can be a very trigger-heavy environment. So I want to talk a little bit about that. In fact, I'm actually going to be doing a panel at the convention on PTSD in the within the context of attending a convention. That's going to be at, I believe, 5 o'clock Saturday night. I'm just going to double check my handy dandy schedule here. I'm just going to double check my schedule. Yep, yeah, 5 o'clock Saturday night at the convention. It is on the schedule, so if you are going to the convention and you know which one I'm talking about, by all means, show up, share your thoughts. Real quick here. When you are at these things, when you are at a convention or a concert or some big social event where there's lots and lots of people and lots of stimulation going on, it's very important to be aware of your coping mechanisms and to have them sort of on deck and ready to and ready to bring into play, because you've got a lot of stuff going on. There's typically crowds, people coming and going all around you. There's a lot of stimulus happening. A lot of us have sensory issues. There can be a lot of loud music, a lot of flashy stuff going on. People coming up behind you. You may actually have friends, well-intentioned friends coming up. Hey, how's it going? Don't do that. Okay, I freaked out a little bit and it was my hand doing that. So a couple of tips. Number one, remember we talked about things like the gripper exerciser. This right here. Keep one of these handy. You can actually get these online. I got this one years ago and it still does a great job. You can get one of these online for like, between $10 and $20. You can go to Target and get one for about $20. They make adjustable ones if your hands aren't all death grippy kung fu like mine are. So have something like this that can help you kind of, channel any anxiety or anger issues you may be developing. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to position yourself in places where it's not as likely that somebody's going to come up behind you. And also be aware of what potential safe spaces are. If you're at an event like a science fiction convention and you're staying in the hotel, try to be aware of the quickest way to your hotel room. Don't be afraid to excuse yourself from whatever you're doing, whether it's a game or a party or a panel or whatever, and say, hey, look, I need to go up to my room for a couple minutes. That's a safe space. We talked about public bathrooms. Be aware of where the bathrooms are. Don't be afraid to go in there. And by all means, don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? And I'm not just talking about your friends. If you are at a big social gathering, like a science fiction convention or a concert or some other sort of thing like that, and you find yourself being symptomatic and you don't spot and you don't have one of your friends close by, somebody that you consider a trustworthy individual, don't be afraid to go to a volunteer. Just, very discreetly say, excuse me, but I have PTSD. I'm starting to get symptomatic. Can you get me somewhere safe? Don't be ashamed of it. Don't be embarrassed about it. This is a medical condition. Always, always, always give yourself permission to take care of yourself, because you can't have fun if you don't take care of yourself. And that's the whole point, not just of going to science fiction conventions, but of life, man. Life is hard. Life has things that give us PTSD, but you know what? Life also has things like puppets and that dumb little dog of mine that you saw running around in back. And it has great shows like Firefly, and it has things like science fiction conventions and cool music and beautiful women that you get to be married to. Life is great, man. Life has a lot of cool stuff in it, but you can't enjoy it if you don't take care of yourself, and that's what we're about, okay? You want to take care of yourself. Give yourself permission to practice self-care. So that's the rant this week, okay? Be aware of your surroundings. Have a game plan in place. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I understand that there's a big stigma with mental illness in this country and in society, and yes, that's very, very stupid on the part of society, but just because other people are dumb doesn't mean you should be self-destructive and not help yourself, okay? Find a volunteer and very discreetly say, excuse me, I have this condition, I'm starting to have symptoms, can you please get me somewhere that I can help cope, that I can kind of cope with it? And that's really all of it, okay? Anything more that I'm going to say at this point is going to be redundant. And so I am going to wish you wonderful people a fantastic day. I will see you in about a week. I will be showing off what's going to be my wedding ring. And I wish you all the very best. If you're going to the convention that I'm going to, please find me. I'll be up on the 22nd floor running games most of the weekend, or just, find me somewhere else in the con. I'm not a hard guy to spot. Best fortune to everybody. Be safe, be well, be happy, and be here when I get back.